You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Discipline and self-mastery are two skills that are required to be able to achieve any big goal in life, or just overall healthy living, both physically and mentally. And there's no better way to learn these skills than learning from important figures of history that embodied these two. The figure that we're looking at today is Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor of Rome and reigned from 161 AD till his death. He was the last of the 5 good emperors of Rome, a title given to Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, and Antoninus Pius. So what is it that makes Marcus Aurelius so special amongst other emperors and philosophers? Marcus Aurelius was not only an emperor but also a philosopher. He strongly practiced Stoicism in all areas of his life. Stoicism is a mastery of your emotions and mind without numbing yourself to external events. The main idea is that an individual has very limited control over the external environment and stimuli, and the only object we fully control is our attitude and mind. This leads to a satisfying life, accepting everything that goes on in one's life. Keep in mind that words and people's thoughts of you cannot hurt you unless you allow them to. This offense comes from an expectation or demand of how others should treat you. If these expectations or demands cannot be met, then it's easy to come to a conclusion that you have been dealt a blow, even if this was only concocted by your own mind. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Being offended by things says more about you than the other person speaking those things. It shows a weakness of character and a lack of self-esteem. Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. Stoic philosophers have important virtues that they uphold above all else. These virtues guide their everyday decisions and how they view the world around them, and Marcus Aurelius is no exception. The first lesson that Marcus Aurelius teaches us is to refrain from all anger, passion, and intent of evil. All these things make people act impulsively and irrationally without thought of others and the world around them. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Live with nature and the world around you and do not cause any destruction or harm to nature, and especially yourself. These things make people so narrow-minded and hyper-focused that they lose sight of what they hold dear. Keep your action and words in check if it does not benefit anybody. If it is not fitting, do not do it. If it is not true, do not speak it. Free yourself from all compulsion and rashness. Always consider how such actions and words impact the world and whether it is an impact that we want to leave. A second lesson that Marcus Aurelius teaches us is to be moderate in all that we do. Have a spare diet and refrain from acts of gluttony and avoid excess of material wealth. An overindulgence in anything makes you reliant on external factors for happiness and satisfaction. This will lead to a loss of control in happiness and attitude, the concept that every Stoic philosopher avoids first and foremost. This indulgence inevitably leads to feelings of lack and a cycle of seeking the next pleasure as soon as we become bored with the present pleasure. Be grateful for what we have achieved, as the things we own now were once things we used to wish for. Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess and then thankfully remember how you would crave for them if they were not yours. The third lesson is to be gentle and moderate towards others. Kindness is unconquerable so long as it is without flattery or hypocrisy. For what can the most insolent man do to you if you contrive to be kind to him, and if you have the chance, gently advise and calmly show him what is right, and point this out tactfully and from a universal perspective. But you must not do this with sarcasm or reproach, but lovingly and without anger in your soul. Be kind to others, as evil and suspicion serves no merit for anybody. We all inhabit the earth, and it is unnatural to hold anger towards others or deal any malice or harms towards them. Humans have come into being for the sake of each other, so either teach them or learn to bear with them. The fourth lesson is to always live life to the fullest as if it's our last day. Perfect of character is this: to live each day as if it were your last, without frenzy, without apathy, without preference. We do not know when we're going to die, and the scariest thing to have while dying are regrets. This does not mean to fear death, quite the opposite. Accepting that death is inevitable and everybody returns to the ground where they belong provides us with comfort and spares us the anxiety of avoiding it. For why should one fear death if their life has been spent living the way they have wanted? Live life with this in mind, and you will live a fulfilling and satisfying life. Marcus Aurelius has led a life of moderation and humility. His interpretation of being an emperor simply meant that he would be in charge of taking care of others, and he never abused the title for his own indulgence. This treatment of his title is even more prevalent when we take into account his act of making his adopted brother a co-ruler, a title that was previously not acknowledged until Marcus Aurelius made it so. We are not emperors of one of the greatest civilizations to ever exist, but the lessons that Marcus Aurelius left behind are lessons we can all apply to day-to-day life. Whether you are trying to reach a goal that requires sacrifice, focus, and discipline, or you just want to live life to the fullest, his teachings will always be relevant. The choice is up to us and how we will apply it to our lives. Just a little side note before the video ends, all of the quotes are taken from Marcus Aurelius' book called Meditations, and I strongly suggest reading it. It can be hard to understand due to translations, but you'll eventually get into a flow as you get further into reading it. I really don't think a video or essay would do it justice, and reading it just adds more to the experience. Thanks for watching and have a good rest of your day.